Hi, my name is Jessica Bernal, and I'm here to talk to you about my final video for Education 522 Multiple Intelligence, and this is my unit. The title of my unit is The Solar System, and it is for the 5th grade. The subject of this unit is science, and the time frame to have this unit completed is about 3 to 4 weeks. The learning objectives is the students will be able to identify the different planets in our solar system, be knowledgeable in the differences and similarities of each planet, and use different technologies to show their understandings of the characteristics of the planets. The intelligence that will be addressed are verbal linguistic, interpersonal, bodily kinesthetic, intrapersonal, naturalist, visual spatial, musical rhythmic, and logical mathematical. The Writing Common Core standards for this unit are write informative explanatory text to examine a topic and convey ideas and information clearly. A. Introduce a topic clearly, provide a general observation and focus, and group related information logically, including formatting, illustrations, and multimedia when useful to aiding comprehension. Develop the topics with facts, definitions, concrete details, quotations, or other information examples related to the topic. Use precise language and domain-specific vocabulary to inform or explain about the topic. Providing a concluding statement or section related to the information or explanation presented. With some guidance and support from adults, use technology, including the internet, to produce and publish writing, as well as to interact and collaborate with others. Conduct short research projects that use several resources to build knowledge through investigation of different aspects of a topic. Draw evidence from literary or informational texts to support analysis, reflection, and research. This unit also has Math Common Core standards. Convert like measurement units within a given measurement system. Convert among different size standard measurement units within a given measurement system and use these conversions in solving multi-step real-world problems. The science content standards are for Earth sciences. The solar system consists of planets and other bodies that orbit the sun in predictable paths. As a basis of understanding this concept, students know the solar system includes the planets include the planet Earth, the moon, the sun, 8 other planets and their satellites, and smaller objects such as asteroids and comets. The technology standards for this unit are to research and information fluency. Students apply digital tools to gather, evaluate, and use information. Plan strategy to guide inquiry. Locate, organize, analyze, evaluate, synthesize, and ethically use information from a variety of sources and media. Evaluate and select information sources and digital tools based on the appropriateness to a specific task, and process data and report results. There's also communication and collaboration. These are the different technologies that will be used throughout the unit in multiple ways. On day 1, students will be shown a short video that has facts on the planets played through a song. Students will then begin this unit by creating a Google presentation that reflects the information they have researched and learned from the internet. On the first day, the students will be put in groups of about 3 or 4 and will use Google to research facts about the different planets in our solar system. As the students are looking at the information, they will be keeping a record of the information they have found in an online journal through Google Docs. On day 2, students will begin their second day of research by looking at their journals online and reviewing the information they already have. The students will then use Google to find the remainder of their information for their presentation. On day 3, students will begin to put their Google presentation together. Students will use the information that they have researched and will have a slide with facts for each planet in the solar system. All students will need to participate in making the slides with information. On day 4, students will begin to add pictures to each of the slides. The students will be able to use different resources online to look for pictures of the planets and anything they want to add to enhance their presentation. The students will also be responsible for using GarageBand to make background music for their presentation. On day 5, on the last day of this lesson, the students will share what they have learned through the process by showing their Google presentation while also giving an oral presentation. This lesson is geared towards the interpersonal, visual spatial, verbal linguistic, musical rhythmic, and interpersonal learners. On day 1 of lesson 2, students will begin the lesson by listening to an audio tape of The Solar System by Rosalind Miss. This will help the students learn more facts that they may not have already learned from the previous assignment. Students will then listen to an example of a podcast. The podcast that the students will be listening to is titled The Solar System, and it is giving the students a quick 1-minute overview of the book they had just heard. On day 2, the students will then use GarageBand to record their own podcast. The podcast will only be about 1 to 2 minutes. the students will be required to use information that they have learned from their online journal and what they have learned from this audiobook. This lesson is geared towards verbal and linguistic learners. For Lesson 3, on day 1, students will begin the third lesson by going to shepherdsoftware.com. The students will play the astronomy game that has a lot of facts they may not have already learned from the previous 2 assignments. Essentially, the students will be taken a quiz on what they already know. However, if the students answer wrongly while playing this game, they are giving the correct answers. On day 2, students will use the Quizcast app on their iPads and will create their own 10-question game. This game is meant to challenge their peers and themselves while thinking of the questions and different answers they need to provide. On day 3, the students will then have access to each other's games. The students will get to play each other's games to challenge themselves with information they already knew and information they might have learned just from the game. This lesson is geared towards our bodily kinesthetic and interpersonal learners. Lesson 4, Day 1. Using the information that they already have from their online journal, the students will use the Omni Outline app to make their own outline. Using the outline will help the students compare and contrast the different planets and their characteristics. Day 2. Students will then use Foti.com to write a paper comparing and contrasting the planets. Using Foti.com, the students will be able to write a column in the newspaper and show their knowledge of the different and similar characteristics of the planets. Day 3, students will be able to finish up their column for their newspaper on Foti.com. The students will have this last day to finalize their columns and make sure they are writing about all of the different planets. This lesson is geared towards our interpersonal, verbal, linguistic, and naturalist learners. Lesson 5, the last lesson of this unit. On day 1, for this lesson, the students will be integrating their math and science Common Core standards. On the first day, the students will be researching on Google how far each planet is away from the sun. This will help the students with the activity that they will be doing in a couple of days. Day 2, the students will then be converting the miles that the planets are away from the sun to feet. They will be using these conversions to condense the distances to where they can all be closer together in feet and steps. Each student will use their calculator to figure out the different conversions. Day 3, the students will then use their conversions to do the activity outside. The students will use the end of the grass on the field as their sun and will then place each student to how far each planet is away from the sun. One student will then take a picture with their iPad of all of the 8 students as the planets and their distances from the sun. On the last day, students will then use their pictures that they have taken throughout the activity and will make an Animoto presentation. Students will need to include a reference of the actual planets in the solar system plus the pictures from their activity. This lesson is geared towards our logical, mathematical, and visual spatial learners. Thank you so much for listening about my solar system unit. I hope you have learned some great technological activities to be incorporated in your classroom. Thank you.